I'm a 25-year-old female and pregnant. Dad remarried when I was 17. She and I never got along. She always pushed me. She wanted me to call her mom, then got mad when I didn't. She got mad that my dad was choosing me over her because we would go out together, just him and me. She went through my text messages and got mad at me for talking to my boyfriend about my depression and how I was feeling and not talking to her. She tried to take the stuff that I paid for away, phone, car, etc., and tried to make me babysit her kids multiple times, even on my prom night. She tried to make me lose weight by fasting for a week straight. I'm a healthy weight, I was and still am, and that has always been monitored by a doctor due to health issues then and now. My dad and I still talk, just not as much. He wanted to meet for brunch, so I said yes, unaware he was bringing her. When they came, we talked casually with my husband there too until we got onto the topic of my pregnancy. She asked me all kinds of questions until she got to names. She told me I would name the baby Amy, her daughter's name. I politely said no, we already had a few names in mind. She started asking why I wasn't allowing her to name her grandchild and she should get that right. I told her that it was our right. That was another issue. She kept saying that I was taking away her right as a grandparent and that I've always been such a witch to her for no reason, and she knew that I never accepted her as my mother from the beginning, but I'm a bad parent if I'm going to project that onto my kid. However, this is when I stopped everything and told her she was not allowed around my kid. She kept pushing it, saying that she always knew I was a brat, but being this bitter to someone who only helped her is absurd. Finally, I said that she could think that all she wanted, but I would be naming our child whatever we decided, and that name won't be it. Then she decided to try to hit close to home, saying that I was going to be a horrible mother, that I'm already not taking care of myself, I look like crap, I'm already eating too much and probably killing my baby with how much I eat, and I keep adding to how much of a self-centered person I am by taking away her bonding with her grandchild. Whoa, that hit me hard, but I was done. I told her that she would not be seeing my child ever when she was born since she wanted to push her luck. Before I could say more, my husband grabbed our stuff and we left. I've never gotten so many messages from so many different people in my life. Multiple people are telling me that she was wrong, but I know how she can get, but I shouldn't deny her her grandbaby. Others are just saying I'm an idiot and my father is on her side too. I honestly think I'm 100% in the right. It could be self-absorbed of me to say, but I do. But everyone else besides my husband thinks I'm a raging witch. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, you're 100% in the right. Stepmom is an insecure idiot who only cares about herself. The fact that your dad agrees with her and didn't defend you shows how he feels too. Of course, he's also an idiot for allowing that. I'd want to keep the baby away from her toxic behavior too. Was your dad just sitting there the whole time, not saying anything? Also, is a grandparent naming your child a tradition or something? Where did she get this idea from? Oh, I love the "you know how they are" defense. It doesn't excuse anything. Not the idiot, but you need to invite your father to your home on your own and lay it down hard. You will not accept such talk from her. This isn't her grandchild, and if he wants access to his grandchild, he better buck up. To sit there as she insulted you to your face and said such horrible things shows where he has put priorities. Tell him if he ever wants to see his grandchild, he'd better start calling her on her BS or both of them can get gone. Because, honestly, you don't need her toxicity in your life. And you don't need your father's enabling of her either. OP, she pushed your limits and kept doubling down until you put your foot down as you should. Her enablers, your dad included, because who lets anyone treat their kids like that, can deal with her if they want, you don't have to. And let your hospital know that your stepmom is not allowed to visit you, just in case she tries anything. Better to be safe than sorry. I, female 31, have been with my boyfriend 37 for 8 months. He has 3 kids and is a single dad. We're on pretty good terms regarding almost everything. When it comes to money and spending, we'll take turns inviting each other out weekly. We don't live together, obviously. Several times he had me pay for his kids' purchases. I didn't make a big issue out of it because those purchases were relatively small. All I had to pay was $30 to $60. The other day, he called me at work and sounded like he was in a hurry. He said he just found the gaming device he's been looking for so long and wanted to buy it for his oldest son. I asked what this had to do with me, and he told me he was short on money and needed $300. He asked me to lend him the $300, and I hesitated but agreed. He asked for my bank account info so he could pull the money, but I refused and told him to wait for me till I got there. He insisted and said he'd handle it. All I had to do was just send him my bank account info after I ended the call with him. His insistence made me uncomfortable, so I still said no and told him to wait or I won't pay. He got mad at me, saying he didn't get why I was acting like this. He got so loud I had to hang up. I found him sitting outside after I went home. He was waiting for me and was extremely upset. He asked why I didn't just send him the account info so he could pull the money we agreed on. I told him that I don't feel comfortable letting anyone have my info, especially concerning finances. He got offended and said, "I'm not just anyone, I'm your damn partner." Then went on a rant about how he ended up not paying for the gaming device after looking for it for so long, and now his kid is mad at him and it's my fault. We had a fight and then he left me and told me I'd better have an apology for him and his son next time I call his phone. I haven't called yet, but I feel like I acted stupidly and irrationally. I should have just given him the info he asked for. I don't know if I made the right decision. Am I the idiot? Oh, heck no. Not the idiot. You've been with him for only 8 months and he's already demanding that you lend him money and give him your bank account info. It sounds like those small purchases he got you to do for his kids were his way of softening you up so he could later on request a big purchase and you'd be used to it so wouldn't hesitate. You didn't act irrationally, he did. If he can't afford it, he must wait until he can. I wouldn't give my mother my bank account details and she wouldn't ever ask either, let alone a partner I've only been with for less than a year. I'm surprised he doesn't have a red flag written in a Sharpie on his forehead. OP is being gaslit by her boyfriend. He waited outside her home to light into her for not giving him her bank account info, and he expects her to apologize to him and his son because he didn't have enough money to buy an unnecessary gaming device. What? OP, you're being manipulated and made to feel guilty for being rational. He's using you. It's only the beginning, but it's up to you whether you allow it to continue. Drop this loser and move on. My mom married my stepfather when I was only 1. He had a 1-year-old son and then they had a daughter a year later. My stepbrother and I are teens now and our half-sister is a younger teen. My stepfather is the only father figure I know and I've always called him Dad. My actual dad is not in my life. Growing up, I always noticed that he treated me differently. He never mistreated me, but he was always more interested in his own children than me. He always showed very little interest in me. I've always felt like a second-class family member. My mom treats my stepbrother exactly like me, but stepfather doesn't do the same for me. Anyway, these last couple of years have been difficult because stepfather started off doing stuff with my siblings, like going on trips, going fishing or hiking, father-children bonding moments as he calls it, and he's never taken me with them despite me asking to go. Initially, he always said maybe next time until I called him out last week and he took me aside and explained that this is for him and his children. I'm not his child like they are. He said he loves me, but it's different. He can't dilute the experience by bringing me as well, but he said my mom could spend some mother-child moments with my sister and me if she wants to as well, and that it would be good for us to have that only for us. This conversation happened on Friday before they went off for a weekend trip. My mom told me that this is how he feels. She can't change it, but she's made sure I'm always treated equally when it comes to money, which is true, but she can't change how he feels, so I need to accept it. I've been thinking all weekend and it was clear that when he doesn't see me as his son, it's wrong of me to see him as my dad. So I decided that if I'm the stepchild he tolerates because of my mom, I will not pretend like we're anything more. So I decided to stop calling him Dad and go by his first name. So on Sunday night, after they returned, I said, "Hi Tom." He was surprised but didn't say anything. At dinner, he asked me what that was about and I explained that I didn't want to dilute his experience with his real children by calling him Dad when clearly I'm not his son. It's something that should be kept for his actual children. I was told to go to my room by my mom. Later, she came to me and said that this had hurt him and I should apologize. I said I'm just following his lead and treating him exactly how he wants to be treated by his actions, and if he's hurt, he should look in the mirror because that's his actions. My mom told me in the end that this is the man who raised me all my life, and I needed to apologize and show remorse. She says he's 95% of the way toward being a dad to me. I shouldn't ignore all of that and focus on the missing 5% and reject him entirely. I declined and said he's the one who needs to apologize if he wants things to change between us. Am I being the idiot in this situation? Edit. He's never legally adopted me, although he always referred to me as his adopted son to the extended family. They said he would adopt me in a heartbeat if it weren't for the fact that my biological father is paying child support, and adoption would make it stop. Not the idiot. Both your mother and Tom are the idiots. Explain to your mother this is not just how Tom feels, this is how he acts. If he were a true dad, he would have the same bonding experiences with you as with the other children. She's also treating you badly by letting Tom treat you like this. Suggest therapy so that she truly understands how damaging this situation is for you and how she's a horrible mother for letting this occur. She's choosing her husband's comfort over her child's when the husband is 100% in the wrong. His actions and words clearly show that he doesn't see you as his child, so he can't be upset if you stop treating him as your father. Tell your mother that Tom can't have his cake and eat it. The perks and responsibilities of parenthood go hand in hand. I think you handled this brilliantly, especially for someone very young. It's crazy that Tom would feel this way in the first place. He has been in OP's life since he was a year old. How can you raise a child that long and not have an attachment towards them? Just as a human being, how can you look this kid in the eyes that you've raised for 15 years and tell them you're not their child? That's heartless, OP, and my heart is with you. That's rough. Tom sucks. Screw you, Tom. I'm a widow who, from my previous marriage, has 2 daughters, a teenager and a tween. I remarried 2 years ago to a divorcee who also has a tween daughter after dating him for 4 years. We met through our younger girls, both doing swimming. This isn't a case of me splitting him up from his ex-wife, as I know some will likely ask that. Things with his ex-wife have been cordial, though not particularly warm. He moved into my house and I converted my office into a bedroom for her when she visited so she'd have her room and set up an office space in our bedroom instead. My daughters love their stepsister and treat her just like another sister. My youngest and her especially get on as they're already friends. I recently got offered a promotion, meaning we'd need to move to the city, which is more expensive. We'll be selling the current home to fund this, but based on our current savings and the money we get from the sale, the only houses in our price range are 3 bedrooms. Not ideal, but we can make it work. The plan was for my husband and me to share one room, my oldest daughter to have her own room, and my youngest daughter to share a room with her stepsister. They'd also get one of the larger rooms. When his ex-wife dropped her off, we filled her in on the plans and properties we've been looking at, keeping her up to date. After all, her kid will be staying with us sometimes. She has a right to be kept informed of this matter, but she didn't like that her daughter would have to share a room as she's never done that before. I tried to assure her that it'd be fine, that the girls get on well, and that they'd have a larger room to prevent squabbling over space. She was still not happy about this and told me if anything, my daughters would share and leave a room free for her daughter. I told her my teenage daughter wasn't going to share a room with her little sister and leave a room free for whenever my stepdaughter came to stay, that my daughters would be the ones living in the house full time, so they needed their own space. My husband added here that that wasn't a fair request and at least the 2 younger girls are friends. She insists we should get a mortgage to pay for a bigger place if our savings and the sale can't give us enough money to buy somewhere big enough. Now, this could be an option, but neither of us is keen on starting out with debt, and I personally feel that that is none of her business. We fought more until finally I told her to get over herself, that it wasn't like I was making her daughter sleep on the couch or putting her in with a much older kid or one that her daughter couldn't stand. That to the younger kids it'd be just like a sleepover. Heck, even with their own rooms, they sometimes do this. Maybe I'm the idiot for snapping, but I just reacted to her continual pushing. My husband understands why I did this, but says maybe I went too hard, too fast. I hate that I may make things more awkward in the future through this. Not the idiot. She didn't even ask your stepdaughter if she was cool with it. She just started to complain and demand. If she wants you to have a bigger house for the sole purpose of sometimes housing her daughter, then maybe she should offer to pay for it. Also, the younger kids get along, are a similar age, one of them is there full-time, the other part-time. It makes more sense for them to share the room than to have an empty bedroom sitting there when stepdaughter isn't there, while forcing 2 kids who are in totally different development stages to share a room. Finally, your husband's ex-wife should drop her entitled attitude. I bet you the young girls will be happy to have these sleepovers. You are the idiot. Why exactly are you unwilling to take out a small loan to cover the price gap between a 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom, knowing that you can easily pay the loan off in just a few years? You'll be able to afford the small monthly payment and will easily be able to pay the loan off well in advance. So why not make an effort to get a house that has a room for all of the kids? I mean, you do understand that the younger girls will only be willing to share that room for a couple more years before they start to hate the older daughter because she has her own room, don't you? So do yourself a favour. Find a house large enough for each child to have their own room. Recently, my 22 male older brother, 24, got married to his high school sweetheart Sarah. The four of us went to high school together and I lived in their apartment for 2 years while I was in college. So since I met Sarah, we haven't gotten along. Honestly, while in high school, I thought she was a huge witch. But like it was high school and teenage girls aren't known for their kindness and level-headedness. During this period, I gave her a nickname behind her back. It was Shriek, and variations of the word, Shrieker, the Shriek, things like that. This was for 2 reasons. One, she was always so angry and screamed at people. She was just a loud girl in general. The other reason is that I shared a wall with them when we lived together. So I heard a lot of shrieking late at night and the headboard hitting my wall, which was not pleasant. I was asked to give a speech at my brother's wedding, and during the speech, I told this nickname and the reasons why I called her it. So I've told my brother about the nickname, but never her. I honestly assumed that my brother would have told her. Apparently, he did not. While many people thought the speech I gave was funny and there were a lot of laughs, even from her side of the new family, she was displeased. She said the speech was humiliating and I was trying to make her look bad. I honestly wasn't, I was just telling a funny story. She said that I tried to ruin her wedding day. I apologized thoroughly for making her feel that way, but attested I wasn't trying to make her look bad or embarrass her. Just tell a story. Am I the idiot? Oof, yes, you are the idiot. Did you actually say in your speech, I like to call Sarah the Shrieker because she's loud in bed and she's an angry woman who screams at people? Because that's kind of what it seems like you said. I would have cried if someone said that about me at my wedding in front of everyone. Right? Jesus, Jiminy Cricket, Christ. Imagine what he would say at this woman's funeral. Oh, by the way, people weren't laughing because it was genuinely funny. People laugh during wedding toasts out of habit, social obligation, social embarrassment. Wonder what Shrieker calls OP behind his back. I'm sure she'd think telling all of the guests at OP's wedding would be hilarious. Jokes about people are only funny if they also think it's funny. Otherwise, it's just bullying. How could you not be an idiot? I can't believe a 22-year-old reached young adulthood and is so utterly clueless. What do I say about OP's eventual wedding? Forget it. I can't even imagine someone marrying a guy like this. You are the idiot, OP.